Hi, I'm Matt. Welcome to Disney Planning Insights. Through creative content and live shows, we explain the hidden details of the Disney experience so that our clients can execute memorable adventures. Together with Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel, we have helped hundreds of clients plan, book, and prepare for magical Disney vacations. Let our experience help you avoid common planning mistakes and maximize the enjoyment on your next Disney trip. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Matt with the DPI podcast. If this is your first time here, welcome to the show. We're a live show. We talk Disney news, Disney things, and we have fun doing it. If this isn't your first time here, welcome back. Thanks for coming back. Honestly, it means a lot. So, really want to thank everybody that is a part of this show, whether it's on this side of the screen or through the screen, chatting, liking, keeping up the conversation, feeding me information, all that kind of stuff. I appreciate all of you so very much. So thank you for checking us out tonight. First thing, like I do every week, I want to touch on subscribers. I wasn't here last week. We were in a brand spanking new expedition driving down to Orlando to spend a week at Disney. If you're looking for a new car, look at the Expedition. It was a lot of fun. I could get used to hands-free driving. But with that being said, being out for 2 weeks, I've got a ton of subscribers I need to touch on. So I'm going to go back here. Josh, I don't know if I got you while you 14 days ago, but we are going to Josh Mewick. Thank you for subscribing over at on the YouTube channel. Sean Kayag Kang. Yeah. Crazy Stop Motion. Brianna Murray. Reena Patel. Trey Chanter. Sajin J. Tan Zhan Yang. Luscious 84. Where'd we go? Daniela Prieto. Adrian Kubzik. Hafiz Musa. Stephen Gandhi. And Ayla Moran. And I know there's more of you. So I'm just going to get through this and just kind of let them go. But thank you guys all very much for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for checking it out. Thank you for watching a video, hitting that subscribe button, whatever you did. I very much appreciate it, and I'm glad to have you on board. If you ever have any questions about planning a Disney trip, definitely jump on one of the live streams and ask it there, or you can go over to the show page on Facebook at DPI Podcast, or over on Twitter at Disney Insights, and you can direct message me any question that you want. Very happy to help all of you out if you ever have any questions when it comes to Disney. If you're just here for the show or for the videos that we post up, thank you for that. With that being said, we're going to have a ton coming out this summer. And that's going to kind of take me right into my first topic tonight, and it is planning for Disney is a big deal. It's a huge deal. The people that do it really well are, I won't say over-planners, because you can over-plan yourself into just hating your trip, but they are very deliberate planners. We deliberately plan things and really know kind of what our pivots are when we get into trouble during a Disney trip. I'm gonna friggin' trademark that term. A Disney trip, and you get it with experience. You understand kind of things are going to go wrong. They're always going to go wrong during your trip, and you just kind of have to figure out how to make the best of whatever issue presents itself. Whether it be rain, whether it be something being closed, whether it just be, you're having a bad day and you just don't want to move as fast as you planned you were going to move. All kinds of things happen. But the best thing to do is always stick to your plan. And why I say this is, I take a lot of video. I take a lot of equipment to the parks. I take a lot of video when I'm at the parks. And one thing that COVID, 5 years ago, I invested in equipment for expanded memory and expanded battery length in all my cameras. And it was so I didn't run into internal batteries overheating, running out of memory. So do all this planning, write down everything that I'm going to tape, have an idea of kind of how long I need on all my cameras. I know show lengths, basically. I get down there, I completely audible everything that I had written down and decide, I want to go to a lighter backpack. I'm just not feeling it. So I take out my big batteries. I take out everything for the Ninja. The Ninja is my monitor recording device that allows me to extend past the 30 minutes that my Z6 allows me to record at a time. I carry two Nikon Z6 bodies. And that was one of the poorest choices I've ever made in a Disney trip. At least on the video side. I made poor choices in general during Disney trips. But on the actual video side, it was a huge mistake. It was a huge mistake. So yes, we have footage of The Little Mermaid. Yes, we have footage of Villains. The Villains show is... We'll get to that in a little bit. We have footage of Fantasmic. My unicorn is Fantasmic. I have not been able to get that puppy to tape. Whether I have a Ninja go out, whether I have... whatever. I've had all kinds of different issues with this show. So this year, we get down there. There's a 10:30 show. We know it's going to be a limited crowd show. Most of the crowd's going to go to 9 because either they don't know that the 10:30's there or they don't want to stay in the park that late. I get to the 10:30 show. I've already had problems with my batteries most of the day. Had problems at the Villain show with my batteries. Get to Fantasmic. Make sure I've got a good battery in the camera. Battery overheats in the body. First 20 minutes of the show on my wide angle. Gone. Didn't even save. Didn't even try and save. I have no clue what happened. My camera went completely unresponsive. Put a new battery in. Last 4 minutes. It's the most beautiful footage I've ever taken of that show. I would have had probably the best shot I've ever taken of that show wiped out because I decided that I was better than my planning. So, don't be better than your planning. That's going to be the rule of the day. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the trip. So, this was a weird trip. We did it as a bounce back last year. We went to the parks early June last year. Did this as a bounce back when we got back. Bounce back rules. You've got 7 days from your checkout day to do a bounce back. We're actually in the window for 2 bounce backs right now, which is really nice because we did a split stay. This is the first time we've ever done a split stay. So the way that this trip kind of came about is we wanted to do a land and sea. We want to get on the Wish. We've been trying to get on the Wish. It just hasn't worked out for us. Had some job change stuff going on as far as compensation goes. And it hasn't been in the cards the last couple of years. We were going to do it fall break last year. Weren't able to do it. We were going to do it with this trip. We were just going to do the 3-day on this trip. Didn't work out. It's just one of those things. So we've got this Animal Kingdom Lodge booking that we're going to keep. It's a Savannah View. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit because I think the Savannah View has a very, very narrow customer base, and we'll get to that here in a bit. But so we've got the Savannah View. We really want to take the trip. We know that we could do this, but it's the week after Epic Universe opens. Flights are horrendous, so we're gonna drive it. We make the decision. Hey, we're gonna drive. We're gonna leave early morning on Memorial Day. It's a problem about leaving early morning on Memorial Day. None of the car rental places are open. So we have to drive over to the airport, get our car, transfer luggage from a family member's vehicle into the new vehicle, leave from the airport in a car to go to Disney. It was the weirdest thing ever, but it worked out. But it goes back to my comment about the Expedition. We had a Ford Expedition for the trip down with the new Blue Cruise. It is very, very nice. We were spoiled. Thank you, Indy 500, for bringing in people that want big vehicles, because we got a free upgrade, and it worked out really well. But we get down there. We stayed at the Drury Plaza at Disney Springs. Nice hotel. Really, really nice hotel. Great breakfast. So if you're trying to stay off-site, save a little bit of money, have a really, really good breakfast, that Drury Plaza is a really good option. The room we stayed in, it was a 2-queen, non-theme park view room, just a pretty standard room. It was a good place to put our head. Had a lot of space. Like I said, the breakfast really made it for us, because we got up the next morning, ate breakfast, took our stuff over to Animal Kingdom Lodge. Our room was already ready at 8 o'clock in the morning. We were able to have them take stuff to our room. It worked out really well. And then we went to Epcot. So that was the first kind of split of our stay. Stayed at Disney Springs to start, Drury Plaza Inn. I'd give it a solid, it's not a on-site property, and we didn't have to try and use their transportation, so I can't speak to any of that. But when it came to a room, a nice room, a good-sized room, it had that. When it came to a breakfast, it had an enormous breakfast. It had an enormous breakfast area, and it was included with your room. It works. You do have to pay for parking there. I don't even know what the rate is, because they didn't charge us, because we actually got there at like 11:30 that night, and we were leaving at 7 the next morning. So they didn't even charge us for parking for the overnight. But there is a parking rate there, and the room is a little bit less than Pop Century when it came to price. The 2-queen room, I think I've been looking at it for a while, anywhere from like $179 to $219 depending on when you're going down. So definitely one of those things that could be an option if you're trying to stay off-site. And it was proximity to Disney Springs. So, worst case scenario, you could walk over to Disney Springs, go to a hotel. You could take an Uber to Saratoga and jump on one of their buses. There's a lot of different things you could have done. We didn't have to worry about it, so we didn't. It was just one of those things we didn't worry about. Epcot Day. So we got rained on Tuesday. It tried to on Wednesday. It rained on Thursday. It rained on Friday. It rained on Saturday. And then we came home yesterday. We drove home yesterday. So we had rain basically every day we were there. And you're expecting like typical Florida showers. 2 of the days they were typical Florida showers. 2 of the days they weren't typical Florida showers. So Tuesday we did Epcot. Our goal at Epcot was to go around Epcot in order, do all the rides in order, and have a sit-down meal. We actually had the opportunity to do a quick service, a sit-down, get outside of the park, and then if Mother Nature wouldn't have unleashed on us when we were over at the boardwalk, we would have been able to do what we wanted to do, because we weren't going to watch Luminous, so we were going to hit Figment, Soarin', Living with the Land, and the Finding Nemo ride on the way out back up to the front of the park. But so going around in order, so we did Spaceship Earth, did Guardians, Mission Space. It is what it is. We didn't do it. I'm not going to count it as a miss. It, I, it needs to be the next ride to go. Honestly, it needs to be the next ride to go to Epcot. We'll talk about a little bit about that here in a second. Test track was closed. 3 Caballeros, 8 at La Cantina de San Angel, which San Angel has the 3 restaurants now. You have the San Angel Inn, which is inside the Mexico Pavilion. You have the Hacienda de San Angel, which is across the walkway inside the building. And then you have the La Cantina, which is outside, which is the quick service outside. Food at La Cantina, very good. Very good food. Disney prices for food. So, the bowl. My daughter got the nachos. Son got the kids chicken tenders, I think. And it came with nachos and cheese. It was Disney prices. I think it was like $15 to $25 for the 2 adult entrees. It was like $14 for the kids meal. It is what it is. It's Disney prices. But it was really good food. High quality food. Enjoyed it. Went and did Frozen. Had time. Did Ratatouille before we did our sit down. Sit down at Teppan Edo. We are Teppan Edo people. Hate us if you want. But we love that place. Had our noodles. Had our steak. All that kind of stuff. Surprise for the kids. Went back to Cake Bake. Let's talk a little bit about Cake Bake. It's kind of the hot button topic when it comes to the boardwalk right now. You've got the closing of the dueling piano place, and then you've got Cake Bake are the 2 kind of like arguable topics with the boardwalk right now. Cake Bake, it's Cake Bake, okay? They're big pieces of cake. So Cake Bake originated kind of around where we're from. So we live northeast of Indianapolis. The first Cake Bake shop was in a little town called Broad Ripple, Indiana. It's on the north side of Indianapolis, like by the Butler campus. So when you think about a city, this is like 62nd Street and Meridian. So coming straight out of the heart of the city, about 6 miles out of the heart of the city, out of Indianapolis, is where this place is. Second location, up in a little bit more upscale area called Carmel, Indiana. If you watch the Olympics, you've heard of Carmel High School. A lot of swimmers come from Carmel High School. So we've got these 2 locations here. Unbelievable locations. Fantastic food, fantastic cakes, desserts, all kinds of stuff. High expectations walking into the one at the boardwalk. They had a couple of different options there. Liked it. Get the cakes, get out, find a place to sit on the boardwalk, open them up, take the first bite. They are a lot drier down there than they are up here. We talked a little bit about it at the table. We think it's more the quantity of the cakes that they need to produce on a daily basis is where this comes from. But they are definitely drier than what you get at their home locations in Indiana. It is what it is. I mean, and I don't know if it was just like a bad day but I've heard this multiple times from multiple people that the cake is dry at Cake Bake. It is. And it's dry comparative to their other locations too. So it's not just like, oh, all Cake Bake cake is dry. No, it was very much in this location. So to help with the dry cake, Mother Nature decided she wanted to just downpour on us. And this is 7-ish. Just downpour on us. And we felt bad because there was a couple, as you're walking to the boardwalk from Epcot, there's this nice little, like, I don't even know what to call it. It's a little, like, enclosure, but it's really ornate and decorative, and they were getting pictures taken in there, wedding pictures taken in there. She was in her dress, and then the skies just opened up. And we're like, this is going to be great. Sit down, we'll eat our cake, let itself rain itself out, we'll be fine. It didn't rain itself out. I haven't been in one of those ever, I don't think, down at the parks. It rained. and rained and rained and rained. And 8 o'clock came around and we're like, we got to make a decision. We got to either get back in the park or we got to walk through Boardwalk, bus to Springs so we can get on a bus to get back to Animal Kingdom Lodge. We had to figure it out. We decided to go back in the park. Thinking, I'm looking at the radar. It looks like it's gonna die down. Died down for about 5 minutes. Then it just poured like hell. Park closed. Our walk up, we kind of took shelter in one of the shops over in the England, the UK pavilion. The whole walk up, it rained. I wanted to get some footage of the light package on Spaceship Earth. I haven't, and all the times I've taped down there, I've really not taken time just to do the light package on Spaceship Earth. So we're like, hey, we're gonna stop and do some taping there. Yeah. I'll post a short up over on the YouTube channel later this week on how hard it was raining. The light package is going, and there's additional lighting in the sky. I mean, it's just thunder and lightning and just bucket on bucket of rain coming down. Get to the bus, get back to Animal Kingdom, get into some dry clothes. They're handing out the pool towels in the front entrance as you're walking in, because everybody's just dripping. I mean, it was raining so hard, it was raining in the buses. It was raining that hard. It's dripping in the buses. I mean, it's just, everybody was wet. So we get back to the hotel, get back to sleep. Knew the next day was going to be a long day. Knew the next day was going to be a super long day. So staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, we were going to take advantage of Magic Kingdom and the extra magic hours. So, thought number one was get to the park super early and stay as long as we can. I really wanted to try and extra magic hour, like the half hour you get in the morning. I would have loved to have done Peter Pan during that. They were doing the stupid into Tomorrowland, New Fantasyland push deal. So the family decided that they were going to... What is going on? Okay. Teams just opened by itself on my other screen. That was awesome. So we decided that we were just going to get over to Rope Drop Adventureland, which, in hindsight, probably the best decision we made of the day. So goals on the taping side. I wanted to tape Pirates. I've got a lot of footage of Pirates, just nothing that's my standard of posting it for a ride. We got a lot of good video. We have 5 complete ride-throughs of it. I double taped 2. Allie taped 1, and then she took photos of on her body the second time we went through. So we were able to do Pirates we did Jungle Cruise walk on. We did Pirates walk on, and then next boat. So by 10 o'clock, we had done Jungle Cruise and Pirates twice already, which was okay. I'll give you credit for that one, Mrs. Heidel. But we need to pump our brakes a little bit on most of your ideas. So 10 o'clock, we've got a good start. Let's go hit Tiana's. We haven't ridden Tiana's yet. I wanted to tape Tiana's. I've got the double camera up. Let's go do it. So Tiana's was a 45-minute wait. Wasn't bad. Honestly, wasn't bad. I had low expectations going into Tiana's. I've heard a lot of things, heard a lot of problems, and I think this is the problem, and it's more of a widespread problem with Disney Twitter in general. But when you get on the creator side and you follow creators, especially ones that get to ride rides a lot, multiple times a week, they are always reporting on what's wrong with the ride. And you see that a lot with creators down in Florida. What is going on? What's wrong? All this kind of stuff. I haven't watched like all the footage super close all the way through yet. So I double cammed. Allie hit it with the GoPro. We're going to see what we've got. But in just watching outside of the lenses, I only saw, and I didn't even see it, Braden brought it up, my son brought it up, that one of the animatronics' mouth wasn't moving. It was a Mama Odie. Everybody else seemed to be moving. Everything seemed to be working well. For people that haven't ridden Tiana's Bayou Adventure or don't want to ride it because of what you're seeing online, ride it. It is very well done. There are a lot of screens, but it is very well done. It's a good update to a ride. I don't think that they damaged the integrity of Splash Mountain with making it Tiana's. I think multiple scenes are infinitely better. There are a few additional surprises within the ride. And the final scene is really well done. So I can't get behind the, they took down Splash Mountain, blah, 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 blah. Things are going to change. They always do. I'm working on a philosophy and a rumor right now that Space Mountain might be gone in 5 years. At least Space Mountain as we know it. So things are going to change around the parks. This was a good change. This was a positive change. I really liked the ride. As soon as I can get the footage together, I do have a hierarchy. You guys have made your voices heard over on the YouTube page. So the new Country Bear Jamboree will be my first project when I get down and dirty into editing. But Bayou Adventure will be up. Country Bears will be up. Pirates will be up. I think we've got enough footage of Pirates now to where I can put something together that I approve of in my eye, to do that. So we knock out all of Adventureland basically by 11. Little eatery next to Tiana's Bayou Adventure has beignets. Sit down, have some beignets, drink some water, get ready to move on with our day. We get moving, do the Tiki Room. Wanted to tape the Tiki Room again. I've got old footage on there, up on the channel. I've got some updated footage. I don't know that I'm going to do a new video with the footage I have right now. But I do have an idea on how to make it extremely better. And my daughter rolled her eyes, but I want to sit down and watch it like 8 times from different perspectives. And tape it a few different ways. So tape Tiki Room, have some good footage from there. Go over new Country Bear Jamboree, Country Bear Musical Jamboree. It's good. First time we saw that, it's good. I think Disney is always going to have a problem with IP. And when I say that, it's going to be, they have to balance a very fine line when it comes to adding IP to rides and shows. Because Country Bears, on its own merit, was a fantastic show. people hated Country Bear Jamboree. They didn't get it. They didn't. As society evolves, some people just don't get the joke anymore. But Disney, and especially Disneyland Park, the Magic Kingdom, has always been really good at making sure that the jokes that my parents and their parents would have gotten stayed long enough for the kids to ask the question, why is that funny? And it generated a conversation. And this is what I've always loved about what I thought the Disney philosophy was. And it was, you know, you grow together in these flagship parks. You know, it's stuff that grandkid, parent, grandparent can all do together. And Country Bears was one of those things that there were some old Western humor jokes in there. Not always the cleanest or politically correct in the world, but it was a good way to start a conversation multi-generationally. And I think the change in Country Bears changed that a little bit because it put that humor into my generation. And unless they plan on keeping it that way for the next 20 years, I'm not going to get to have the same experience that my kids got to have with their grandparents watching that show. Because there are definitely things in Country Bears that the old Country Bear show that were question starters. And conversation starters. So, you know, and Shannon brings up, I feel that way about Carousel of Progress too. I do too. I think Carousel of Progress is one of those things. They've made little alterations to it, but it's great to see, you know, when they're talking about turn of the century when the park opened was the grandparent conversation at that point. You know, my great-grandmother on my mom's side was born in 1892. So turn of the century meant a lot in that show. And the conversations that you could have there. You know, and to see Country Bears kind of get away from that and maybe move everything a generation forward, I think it falls in line with the things that I think have been detrimental to the park over the last 10 years. Is you're losing the things that people have to ask questions about. And it's all, oh, I like that, let's go ride it, instead of, what is that? It's the reason you have the park, right? It's the reason you go with your parents and your grandparents, so that they can answer those questions. And now Disney loses another one with Country Bear Musical Jamboree. Now, again, was it a good show? Yes, it was a good show. I think I get really deep into what I think is going to be the biggest failure of Disney over the next 20 years, and that is the elimination of a generation. If they eliminate the ability for grandparents to have fun with their grandkids, you're losing the ability for Disney to be Disney. I feel like that is the issue right now. So we'll get away from that for a little bit. Okay, so do Country Bears, do Tiki Room, rode the Liberty Bell one more time, got footage around that, just so everybody can see what Disney is taking out to put a Cars ride in. Again, It's another one of those things. The grandparents aren't going to get on the cars ride with the kids. They will get on the Liberty Bell with the kids. So another thing that they're going to lose. Okay, so do the Liberty Bell. Go back, do Haunted Mansion. Tape Haunted Mansion. Love... Haunted Mansion is such a challenge to video because of the lighting. The lighting is so bad in there on purpose. It makes the ride what it is. I got some good footage out of it. I don't know if I'm going to post a ride video per se, but I am going to be able to take clips out of the bride, of Madame Leota, of some of the haunts in the graveyard scene. Got some good footage out of it. Really happy with how that went. Rode Small World, ate at Pinocchio House, and this is getting to be like one. I mean, we're doing all of this in like the first 4 hours of the day. Just plowing through things. Get in line for Peter Pan, ride Peter Pan, go back and ride the Barnstormer. And then it's time for dinner. Ate at Skipper Canteen. Skipper Canteen never disappoints. Tastes like chicken because it is fantastic, with or without the slaw. I like it without. I got it with this time. I like it better without the slaw. Go back, ride, or watch PhilharMagic. And then Seven Dwarfs. Seven Dwarfs was a cluster because there was weather coming in. And they were really scared about the weather. So it was a thing. Get through, ride Seven Dwarfs. Kind of getting ready to figure out fireworks and that kind of stuff. So my son and I go ahead and we get up on the People Mover. We ride it. I tape the People Mover. And then, or no, we went back and rode Little Mermaid too, at some point. I ride the People Mover, talked to the guy at the exit. I was like, hey, I want to stay up here for the fireworks. You know, I've never been on the People Mover during the fireworks. I want to stay on, watch the fireworks. He goes, yeah, just let me know. Just give me a signal when you guys are coming around and just stay on. So Brandon and I go back up. So we exit, come back up, get on one, ride it 3 times during the fireworks, get off, and we have the extra magic hours from 10 to 12. So we're like, hey, let's get some dessert, and we'll get our dessert, and then we'll figure out these extra magic hours, because we thought we were just going to run across the park, do all kinds of stuff. It didn't work out that way for us, but it's fine how it did work out. So we go to Anti-Gravity's, get some root beer floats, some churros, sit down, close out the park at Anti-Gravity's. Or Anti-Gravity's. Split up, because Allie wanted to do Space Mountain, Braden doesn't want to do Space Mountain. We split up there, do Space Mountain. Oh no, we do Buzz Lightyear's first, then we do Space Mountain. We split up Space Mountain, they went over and did Tomorrowland Speedway, and then we're like, hey, we're going to end the night at Tron. So let's just go up and get in line at Tron. And we were thinking we might be able to get Tron and then get back in line for something else before the park closes. Because it was like 10:30 by the time that we got to the Tron line. And it was like an 85-minute wait. So it was going to be close. You know, we might have been able to get down and get into the Space Mountain line or something like that. So that Shannon and Allie could have ridden it. We were going to figure it out. Get up there. It's moving, and then it stops moving dead. And cast member comes through and she goes, yeah, only half of the ride is working. Well, we haven't seen a train for like 10 minutes come out of out of the launch. So whatever happened. It was running at like half capacity for like a half an hour of that. So it just doubled the time. It went like the 160, which is crazy. So at that point we realized, hey, we're not going to get to ride anything else. Do we want to just hang out in the line, or do we just want to get back to the hotel? Decided to hang out in the line. Braden wanted to ride it. It was going to be his first time riding it. They get the other side back up and running. Line starts moving a little bit better. We get to ride it. Braden made it through. Thought it was awesome. He didn't look like he thought it was awesome while he was on it. And then head out to the buses. Well, rule of thumb on buses is an hour after park close, buses stop running. So we're just hoofing it. We're like, it's coming up on 1. We know it's going to be tight. We're running. We see a bus leave for Animal Kingdom Lodge, and we think that's the last bus. So we get down there, and we've got a cast member down there, and he's like, yeah, you guys are fine. We're like, really? He goes, yeah, we tell everybody 1 hour after park close. It's like, okay, cool. If you want to know what the real thing is, reach out to me on Facebook. I'll tell you. I'm not going to say it on here, but I'll tell you in private. But they had another bus come, and we actually had quite a few people on that bus when it came. But yeah, rain skirted us on Wednesday. Never really rained at Magic Kingdom. Thursday, Animal Kingdom Day. The goal was Dinosaur. Last rides on Dinosaur. We knew we weren't going to make it back before the end of the year, so definitely made Dinosaur our first ride. So we got a little later start out to Animal Kingdom than we would normally have liked. But we got out there and got to breakfast, rode Kilimanjaro, had enough time to ride Kilimanjaro, get to breakfast at Tusker House. Tusker House, such a good breakfast. We were one of the last breakfast reservations. They were already starting to switch some of the things over to lunch, so they start doing that at about 10:30. So if you ever want to do like the double at Tusker House, get like that 10:20, 10:25, 10:30 reservation. 10:30 I think is their first lunch reservation. It might be 11. But they start to switch over. So if you want omelets or stuff like that, those are the things they start closing relatively early. So just be aware that if you have one of those later reservations, you may be more brunchy than anything, finishing up the platters that are out for breakfast and then having some fresh lunch platters when you get there. So we ate. First thing we were going to do, Dinosaur. Go over, do Dinosaur. Get it knocked out. Get off Dinosaur. Go over, watch the Finding Nemo show. It was updated a couple of years ago. It's good. It's big puppets. It isn't my best or my favorite refresh of a show. There are some really cool parts in it. There are some things that are just like, eh. They're kind of gimmicky. But for as thrown together as the new Finding Nemo show looks, the two new shows at Hollywood Studios make up for it. Let's just put it that way. So if you've seen the Nemo show at Animal Kingdom and have that same thought, yeah, 100%. So we watched that. Shannon and Allie ride Everest. Brandon and I just hung out, took some footage of trains coming down the main hill, that kind of stuff, just kind of relax. Did Kali River Rapids, went over to Pandora, did Flight of Passage. We were going to try and make the last Lion King show, Kali River Rapids. It was hot. Kali River Rapids ended up being a long wait. It was posted 55. We waited more like 80. It was a tough one. And that's a tough line too. Kali River Rapids is a tough line. It's a hot line. So, get you ready to get wet, which we did. We got drenched. We had 2 open seats, and on the downhill that means something, the 2 empty seats found the bottom, and we all got equally drenched. So it was well done by our boat. From there we went to Pandora, did Flight of Passage. Weren't able to get into that last Lion King show. We probably could have gotten into that last Lion King show, but we knew what our wait was going to be at for Flight of Passage. We wanted to do Dinosaur one more time before we had a reservation at Rainforest Cafe there at Animal Kingdom, which we haven't done in a while. So we wanted to make sure we got there. So, did Flight of Passage, didn't do Na'vi. I wanted to tape Na'vi. It'll be there. It's one of those rides. I've got great footage of the main animatronic in there. I wanted to try and like super low light tape that ride to get it up. Wasn't able to do that. Not a big deal. Went back over, rode Dinosaur again for the second time. Gave it a hug. Said our goodbyes. Went to Rainforest Cafe. Rainforest Cafe, for as many people that hate on Rainforest Cafe, the food there is really good. They have a summer menu that has a bruschetta chicken on it. The bruschetta chicken was excellent. I don't know that I've had a bad meal at Rainforest Cafe or T-Rex. And that says, I mean, we go to those places pretty consistently, and I've never had a bad meal there. I've had bad meals other places, bad service, that kind of stuff. Never, I mean, our server wasn't great at or at Rainforest Cafe, but it wasn't terrible. She kept drinks at the table. Our food came relatively timely. It wasn't horrendous. While we were at Rainforest Cafe, Mother Nature decided to open up at park close and drench everybody that decided to stay at the park. By the time that we got out, it was sprinkling. It wasn't bad. We went back to the resort enough to freshen up a little bit, and then we went to Disney Springs. We did something this trip. We did a lot of things this trip that we've never done, but we did something this trip that you kind of have to time out, and we saw Lilo and Stitch opening week, which was awesome. We went to that AMC Dine-In 24 there at Disney Springs, saw a Disney movie at Disney Springs on opening week. It was fun. It was. Now, one thing I will say is we were in the big, cheap theater. And I say that lovingly because there are a ton of options. There's 24 screens in that theater. We were in like kind of the basic one. No fancy seats. It had a laser projector, but it wasn't super high end by any means. I mean, I can go to my local Imagine, pay less for the ticket, and get better seats and probably a better screen. The upper deck. So this thing had a lower deck and an upper deck. It was enormous. I couldn't even imagine seeing a movie there in a full house. It'd be chaos. But we went up to the upper deck. It didn't look like they had cleaned it for like all day. There was popcorn all over the floor. There were napkins in all the seats. It was trashed. AMC, do better. Do better. You know, it's still theater. It's still opening weekend for a Disney movie. Do better. But we watched Lilo and Stitch there. Lilo and Stitch, really, really good. Love how they kept it true to the original. I mean, I think that is the roadmap for a successful live action when it comes to Disney films. You can add in a little flair, you can add in a little flavor. Don't go changing the nationality of your lead characters. I don't care if it's not culturally correct or historically accurate. Disney drew them the way they drew them, and you aren't changing the original movies. So if you're going to live action a movie, an original Disney movie, live action it close to the original characters. Lilo and Stitch did that. It was good. It was cute. Went back to the hotel that night. Next day, we had big plans. Big plans. We were doing putt-putt in the water park, and we were going to hang out and watch the animals on our Savannah View room and do all these things as we were changing hotels from Animal Kingdom Lodge to Pop Century, and we hung up out on our balcony for a while, watched some of the animals, listened to it rain, decided we were going to let 11 o'clock come and go. We were going to put on our swim gear, and we were just going to hang out at Animal Kingdom Lodge and chill out in the pool and just chill out there for the day. We had a reservation at Disney Springs that night. That was going to be, it ended up being our shopping and Disney Springs day. We have things that we do at Disney Springs basically every trip that we like to do. And that ended up being Friday. So, Animal Kingdom Lodge pool, when it comes to deluxe pools, theming, views, great. Awesome pool. Pretty basic. Past that. It had a little water slide. And it had a games coordinator. But I mean, past that, it was relatively basic. And we liked it. Now, really neat thing is the Savannah does come up to one of the ends of the pool. So if there's a giraffe in the Savannah eating out of one of the trees, you're going to see it from the pool. If you get out of the pool and walk to that side, there is a flamingo enclosure over there. They've got baby flamingos right now. They're cute. They're super cute. It gives you some different things you can do around the pool. There is a pool bar there. We did not partake in the pool bar there, but it was nice. We hung out at Animal Kingdom Lodge till about 2:30. Went over, dropped our stuff off at Pop Century, went to Disney Springs. Freshened up, went to Disney Springs because we changed clothes and everything before we went to Disney Springs. Went to World of Disney. World of Disney was release day for Reign of Jafar, the new Lorcana series. They were doing a promotional card release. We got there super late. I went up and asked one of the supervisors. They had a card in their pocket. So I got one of the Elsa signature block cards that was handed out at World of Disney on Friday, which was nice. Also got a trove. Super cool. Love the artwork on these. These are awesome. That's an interesting. It's different, but I just noticed that Jafar is on our Arcasias and already has the half hexwall crown put back together. And then Jafar is on Rain with the crown on again. So interesting. So yeah, I got some product there. Kids kind of finished up their shopping there in Basin. Went into T-Rex, of course, Lego store. all that kind of stuff. We do all that kind of stuff at just kind of our thing. We ate at Maria and Enzo's. Maria and Enzo's was interesting. And interesting in a way, I don't know. Interesting might not even be the best way to say it. The food was excellent. It was really good. The problem is that to me it felt pre-made. One of the reasons I got the rigatoni. One of the reasons I got the rigatoni is because the noodles are made in house. Okay, that's a cool little fact, that they make the rigatoni noodles in house. But their sauce, it's a pomodoro sauce. It was cold in places. And it wasn't like bad enough to where I was like, I need to get a server over and, take it back to the kitchen and get everything warmed up. Because it was like super hot in places and then cold in places. It was like when you microwave a Hot Pocket. But that was the thing. It was like when you microwave a Hot Pocket. So yeah, it was just one of those things. But the food, flavor, really, really good. It was a good meal, reasonably priced meal, good Italian food. Went to Salt and Straw, got some ice cream, did some more shopping, and then got on the bus. Decided to make it an early night, get back to the hotel, knowing that we were going to have a full Hollywood Studios day the next day, and we underestimated that terribly. So Saturday, last day at the parks, went to Hollywood Studios. New shows, Villain Show, Unfairly Ever After, opened up this week. New Little Mermaid, Under the Sea show, opened up this week. And they had the crowds to show it. It was busy. One of my friends from high school was down there with his family this past week as well, and was kind of not able. They didn't do it because of the crowd level and the lack of Lightning Lane and all that kind of stuff. Because of the kids, but we braved the line, so got in there. It was raining that morning. We were planning on extra magic houring. We did. Not in the way that I had initially wanted to, but because it was raining, there was nobody at the Skyliner. That's really the only reason that we stay at Pop Century is because of the Skyliner. And it worked out fantastically on this trip. So we left about a half hour later than we wanted to. And there was nobody in line for the Skyliner. So this would have been about 7:45. Which on a normal day is about a half hour too late to get there for extra magic hours, for that extra half hour in the morning at 8:30. Get there, nobody in lines, straight through the security line, straight through the ticket line, into the park, get in line for Mickey and Minnie's. Rides open at 8:30. We're in there before 8:30. Worked out perfect. We're in and out at Mickey and Minnie's in 15 minutes. Decide that we're going to go to Rise. This was probably one of the better calls of the day. Get to Rise as the rope is dropping, and we're able to kind of merge into the line. We had about a half hour wait for Rise. Go over to Smuggler's Run. They had 25 posted. It wasn't 25. It was 15, 20 at most. Um, and then we see Midway Mania is at 25, so we head over to Midway Mania. It ended up being more like 40. But in the first 3 hours, we had an 11:55 at Oga's, and we were able to do Muppets 3D and Star Tours before we had to get back to Oga's. And get Allie's lightsaber fixed. Her hilt. Which is pro tip here. Okay, so we do all this. So Mickey and Minnie's, Rise, Smuggler's Run, get Allie's lightsaber hilt fixed, Muppets 3D, Star Tours, get back our Midway Mania, and then get back to Oga's for lunch. Basically take care of one half of the park and get to Oga's by 11:55. It was awesome. Now, rain in the morning, what does that mean? Slinky Dog's down. We knew that this was going to be a problem as we got later in the day. So I'm watching it, see it open up. It immediately goes to 90 as soon as it opens up. I was like, yikes. So we decided to do kind of everything else. So we hit the Little Mermaid ride, or the Little Mermaid line for that show. And basically say, hey, we're loading the show now. You might make it into the next show. Probably not. We make it into the next show. I have, as far as video work goes, the absolute best seat that I could have possibly had to take video of the show. I am basically right in front of the soundboard, but not in a way to affect the soundboard. And back row, it was perfect. It was awesome. Our video of the Little Mermaid show will be one of the best that will be posted on YouTube. So definitely want to check that out when it gets up. What do I think about the show? The show is a significant upgrade to what was there. It's not significantly different, but it is a significant upgrade. If they continue to use the technology that they're using in that show and in the Villain show, the way that they are, shows at Disney parks will continue to be the highest level of any amusement park in the world. They will. They basically use a multi-screen technology to build a 3D experience with live characters on the stage. That's what they did. And it was awesome. And it looked cool. And it didn't look cheap. And it was bright. It was fun. It wasn't scary for the kids. It was really well done. So, Disney, good job on that. I mean, there's nothing more I can say. You didn't change it a ton. You added a ton to it. And it was fantastic. Hopefully it continues to draw the crowds like it did, where you've got a show wait to get into it. Because it's worth it. It's worth that 40-minute wait to see that show. From there, we went back to do the Villain show. No, we didn't. We did the meet and greet with Mickey and Minnie. And then we had lunch. So, at that point, we've got basically Galaxy's Edge is done. Grand Avenue is done. We've got the Little Mermaid show done. We didn't plan on seeing Frozen or Indiana Jones. If it happened, it happened. It wasn't a huge deal. We hadn't met any characters on this trip. So we were like, hey, let's meet Mickey and Minnie. Go back, get our pictures with Mickey and Minnie, which is fun. It's right there by Sci-Fi. We had Sci-Fi reservations. We haven't been able to get Sci-Fi reservations since COVID. So that was a big deal. Get the Sci-Fi reservation. Eat there. Sci-Fi is its own little animal. It hasn't changed much. And if you've eaten there before, you understand what I'm saying. It's not great service. It's good food for what it is, but it's not great service. And it takes longer than it should. It's one of those that I feel like people linger in it because it's air conditioned, even though most of your ride lines are air conditioned now at Hollywood Studios, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But it is what it is. So we ate at Sci-Fi, had our meal there. Got to go back to do the villain show. Villain show was already queuing, so we got back there. We had a 3:15 reservation at Sci-Fi. We got back. They were getting ready to load the 5 o'clock show. They were queuing for the 6 o'clock show. So we got in line Braden and I got in line for the 6 o'clock show. So it was 4:50 when we got back there. So that tells you Sci-Fi. They were running a half hour behind on getting you in to the restaurant, and it was slow. So, yeah, it was 4:45 before we even got back to Rock and Roller Coaster and the villain show. So Braden and I queue up for the 6 o'clock villain show. Allie and Shan get in line for Rock and Roller Coaster. We think, hey, perfect timing. Rock and Roller Coasters is at like 65. They should be able to ride it, get back over in the queue with us, and then walk in at like 5:45 for a 6 o'clock show. Hell no, that's not how Disney was doing it this time. Yeah, Shannon says she didn't think that at all. I thought that. I thought that we had plenty of time. At 5:30, they're pushing people in. Like, shit. So we get in. They get off Rock and Roller Coaster at like 5:45. And I'm like, just queue up for the 7 o'clock show. It's like, we'll watch it again. It is spectacular. I don't even know what other word. It is bright. It is interactive. It is the characters are very, very, very good. And it works well in today's society. It's a crowd splitter. It's exactly what it is. It is 100% a crowd splitter. And you're already seeing factions for the characters coming into these shows trying to sway results. So, we are going to post the show, but we're going to go bluey here. We're going to be a little cheeky here. And we're not going to post the end. So we're going to post up to all of the villains trying to get into the mirror, and then we're going to stop. If you've seen the show, you'll understand why we're going to do this. Because what happens after that changes greatly depending on the crowd. We taped it twice. The ending was different both times. So there's basically 3 endings that can happen. When you see the show, you'll understand where it's going and kind of get it. But they're cool. They're really, really fun. The characters are really good, and they've got their own little flair at the end. But it's one thing, you got to be there in person to be able to have your voice heard. We'll put it that way. Have your voice heard. But we'll post at least the first like 2/3 of the show so that you guys can see what they have done with the Lightning McQueen Theater. It looks fantastic. It is a lot bigger than you even imagine. I mean, I think they were only using maybe half of it for McQueen. And talking to one of the cast members, it's because they needed so much machinery in the back for the McQueen animatronic and all of the side screens that they had more of a control room off stage than they need for the villain show. The villain show control room's just a soundboard in the back. They've got like a sound crew and visual crew in the back, and that's all you've got. You've got 3 people back there. But the show's fantastic. So after the show, we've got to make a choice. So we watched the 7 o'clock show. It lets out 7:30. We've got to make a choice. Phantasmic's coming up at 9. Slinky Dog Dash has an 85-minute wait. What do we do? Well, there's a second Phantasmic show. It's the summer. We hit the second Phantasmic show at 10:30. So we go over and brave the Slinky Dog line. It is what it is. It's a long line. But what it let us do is that we got through the Slinky Dog line, got out of it at like 9:15, walked up, got some Starbucks, watched a little bit of the animation show that's on the theater, the Chinese theater, as we were walking up to Starbucks. Got our Starbucks, headed back to the queue for the 10:30 Phantasmic, and just hung out there. Did some shopping on the way back there. Took our time, got back there. We were in the first like 5 rows of people to get into the theater. Got a great spot down low, just left center. Get set up and everything like that. And this is where my conversation, I'm going to tie up my conversation from the beginning of the show to here. I'd already had battery problems at the villain show. I knew what I was running into. I had left a battery just for Phantasmic for my main camera. Set everything up, get everything focused up, get it all color balanced the way I want it. Everything looks good. Battery looks like it's fully charged. Get everything in. Hit record. Recording. About 15 minutes in, my main camera absolutely dies. Black screen's on me. I can't get it to shut off, turn back on. I can't get it to do anything like an overheating thing. I was like, great. Well, normally in that case, video finalizes and it just ends wherever it ended, and it is what it is. So I take out the battery, grab what I think is the next best battery, throw it up into the camera. Looks good, turn it on, tape the last 5 minutes of the show. Don't think anything about it. Top camera worked fine the whole time. That was my sway camera where I was kind of following like the barges and where characters were on the show set and that kind of stuff. Is what it is. Get home today, moving everything over to my big computer. There's no first 15 minutes of Phantasmic from the main computer, or from the main camera. Which doubly sucks, because that's where I had my audio set up as well. So, have I recorded Phantasmic every time I've gone there? Yeah. Do I have audio tracks for Phantasmic? Yeah, I do. But in watching the last 5 minutes of the show that I've got, it is so good. This would have been finally me getting Phantasmic the way I want it. It wasn't. It wasn't. And unfortunately, I don't have a plan right now to go back. So I will be pulling video for, I think I've seen it with the updates 3 times now. So I've probably got 6 at least 6 camera shots of it from different places around the theater. And try and put something together and know that the last 5 minutes are unbelievable. So yeah, so we leave after Fantasmic, get on the bus, head back to our resort hotel, get packed up, and drove home the 15 hours it takes us to drive from Florida to central Indiana. Fun fact, we do not take road trips more than 1,000 miles. It is 999 miles from the porta coach at Pop Century to our front door. Pretty fun fact there. All right. With that being said, we are an hour and 16 minutes into the show. I do want to talk just a hair of news because we did get a couple of things to drop over the last couple of weeks. And the big thing is the Disney Starlight Parade. Starlight Parade is going to be the new nighttime parade at Walt Disney World at the Magic Kingdom. And it does have a start date that is going to be July the 20th. If you have been a fan of the show and have watched it over the last month, we have talked about mid-July for a long time, making a whole lot of sense. Get through the July 4th crowd, get through that initial rush of East Coast, because you know that's going to be what happens, and then give people that reason to come back, give people that reason to wait, because you know that your late summer is going to be bad this year. If it's any indication of what your early summer was, your late summer is going to be terrible this year. So yeah, it's going to be one of those things. So put it a little bit later in the calendar, get some people to hold off on trip, or come back later in the summer to see Starlight. It's a good move on Disney's part. We knew it was going to happen. They weren't going to put it around July 4th. And what's going to happen, and you'll see it, you'll see it happen, is they'll run 2 parades. They'll run a 9 o'clock parade. They'll do fireworks at 9:40. They'll run a 10:20 parade and close the park at 11. That's how it's gonna end up. So, so you've got that happening. I'm looking to see if there's anything else like major that happened over the last 2 weeks. Geo 82 is doing soft opening type stuff right now. It is in this space has been a lot of different things. It's been a little like a reception area. It's been a lot of different things, but it's up on the backside of Spaceship Earth, basically above like that technology walkout of the ride. It's on the second floor there. Let's just do it this way. Because normally this is Rock Rip, Five Nights at Freddy's, Phineas and Ferb meet and greet, Lilo and Stitch, Rex appearing for a limited time at Disney's California Adventure Park, starting yesterday in honor of the 30th anniversary of Toy Story. Geo 82 Lounge, new avatars for sign-in, Magic Mirror. So Magic Mirror is the music from Unfairly Ever After. It's available on your music streaming services now. Hong Kong, don't care. Universal, drones, don't care. Disney Vacation Club members can receive a $250 onboard credit on the Disney Wish when booking using points, cash, or both. You can also combine with 30% offer applies to select cruises in August and September. Doesn't mean a whole lot. Lots of Savannah Banana stuff. They were at Disneyland last week. Some work on the puppets for one of the boat shows. There's a video out there about Disney Starlight music. Starting July 20th, limited time, annual pass holders will need a reservation to visit Magic Kingdom at any time of day due to the expected demand for the debut of Disney Starlight. Nighttime parade, APs can still enter the park after 2 p.m. without a park. Still enter other parks after 2 p.m. without a park reservation. They kind of do that with all openings, just a lot with Starlight. May 27th. Villain show. Yeah, so villain show. Let's talk about like the queuing procedure, because I feel like for the next month, if you're going down there, we'll say through the summer, it's going to be relatively similar. I think it's going to draw relatively big crowds because it is going to be a popular show. So morning, 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. 10 a.m. is going to queue at 10 a.m. It's going to go in, or it's going to queue at 9 a.m. It's going to go in at 9:30. They're going to do fill procedure from 9:30 to 9:55. So they will ones and twos, whatever they have open seats that they didn't click in on the main count, they will bring in people to fill those seats from 9:30, basically from 9:40 to 9:55. The 11 o'clock will queue when the 10 o'clock goes in. So at 9:30 when the 10 o'clock goes in, the 11 o'clock will queue on the other side of that little open area that's there. Then once the 10:30 or once the 10 o'clock goes in, the 11 o'clock will move over into the corral, and they'll pull groups out from the front of the corral that meet the seating that's available within the 10 o'clock show. So if you queue for the 11 and you're early in that queue, there is a chance that you can get into the earlier show, but not a guarantee. So once they get past the 11 o'clock show, so same thing with the 11 o'clock show, it will go in at 10:30. They'll do seat fill from 10:40 to 10:55. Show at 11, it's a 20-minute show. They'll move everybody that's queued up for the 12 o'clock show into the corral, and then they'll kind of do the same thing. Once it hits noon, they go every half hour. So they are going to load a show, you go straight into the corral. Load a show, go straight into the corral. Load a show, go straight into the corral. They won't do the same fill procedures in the middle of the day. So 12, 12:30, 1, 1:30, 2, 2:30, 3, 3:30, 4, 4:30, and the 5 o'clock show will all run the same way. Starting with the 6 o'clock show, they start to expect the crowds again. They will go back to the split queue process. The 5 o'clock show will be in the corral. The 6 o'clock show will queue up across the courtyard. At 4:30, when the 5 o'clock show goes in, and they get everybody out of the corral. The 6 o'clock show will go over to the corral. If there's spots available in the 5 o'clock show, they will pull it from the corral for the 6 o'clock show. It'll do the same thing for 7 o'clock. So, just be prepared that you're probably, if you're walking up 10 minutes before a show thinking you're getting into that show, you're probably not. You're probably getting into the show an hour later. So just keep that in mind. Unless you go in the middle of the day, that 12 to 5 period, it's just a constant, like every half hour. So you're going to probably get into the next show. They're just going to keep corralling and queuing and corralling and queuing and corralling and queuing. But it's worth it. The Villain Show is one of the best shows that they've done at the parks. I put it up there with Festival of the Lion King. Festival of the Lion King still is one of my favorite shows at any of the parks at Walt Disney World. The Villain Show is very, very good. Get animated at Animation Courtyard. Limited time summer offering at Disney Hollywood Studios. That includes games, crafts, and a dance party with several characters. You got Timon, you got Racer Mickey, you've got Fancy Nancy, Clarabelle. Big Top Bash, they have special characters there. Bluey and Bingo will appear on DCL sailings from Australia and New Zealand through 2026. If you haven't watched Bluey and you've got kids, catch up. Get on the Bluey train. You're just behind the 8 ball at that point. Villain stuff, villains. Well, that's cool. So I didn't see this. This is from May 22nd. Avatar: The Way of Water will re-release in IMAX 3D on October 3rd, ahead of Avatar: Fire and Ash this year, releasing in theaters on December 19th. So that's super cool. Next 3 Decembers, you have Avatar: Fire and Ash, Avengers: Secret Wars, and Avengers: Doomsday. Yeah, it's going to be pretty big. If you're a Universal fan and have wondered why the Universal rides at Epic Universe have all had low wait times, it was confirmed that Universal was short-selling tickets to keep wait times low and to be able to address errors in a better manner than if they had completely sold out the parks. They have re-upped the capacity for Epic Universe, so you're going to start to see real wait times here over the next few weeks. So I'm interested to see what happens there, because the big thing has been like, oh, I've been able to, walk on Donkey Kong, and, the Ministry of Magic has only had like a 40-minute wait. I think you're going to see those 3 and 4 hour waits for these rides as we get into summer. I think they did it as, and not as a stunt, but more as they said it was, so that they could identify and address issues in a timely manner with a lower crowd capacity. I think it was a slap in the face to Disney, and just to say, hey, we just opened a new park. Look at our wait times. You've got everybody coming over here right now that can get into the parks instead of going to your place. Job well done. So yeah. But yeah, that's it. Like I said in the pre-show, if you guys have any input on the format of the multi-segment show, definitely hit us up over on Facebook at DPI Podcast or on Twitter X at Disney Insights. With that being said, I'm going to end the show. I'm tired. It's time for me to go to bed. It's been a long week. But definitely hit those like and subscribe buttons. for this video and hit that notification button so that you know when new stuff's going to be up. Country Bear Musical Jamboree should be up sometime this week, and then we will be hopefully a video a week all summer, on top of the lives and any shorts that we put out. So should be a pretty active summer in the channel, so have fun. Thank you guys for everything that you do to support the channel. You guys have a good week, and we will talk to you next Monday. Bye now. Hey, what's going on? We didn't have any guests tonight. It was a trip recap night, but we'll have guests in the future, so this will be more relevant then. If you're looking for us on social media, you can find us in a lot of different places. The easiest is going to be over on Facebook at DPI Podcast over on Facebook for the show page, at PATM Disney Travel for the travel page. If you like to get into our discussions, over on Twitter at Disney Insights. We also have Instagram, Threads, YouTube, everything else. Check. Thank you guys for another successful month on the channel. Hopefully June goes the same way. We will talk to you next Monday. Bye now.